Imagine you walk into a bank. You ask to borrow $1 million. The banker looks at your credit score. It's terrible. You already owe $10 million to other banks. You have no plan to pay the principal back. In fact, you tell the banker straight to his face, "I'm going to use this loan to pay the interest on my other loans." In the real world, security would drag you out by your ankles. You'd be laughed out of the room. But in the world of global economics, the banker doesn't kick you out. He smiles, he shakes your hand, and he begs you to take $2 million instead of $1 million. This is the paradox of sovereign debt. We are raised on kitchen table logic. We are taught that debt is a burden, a heavy stone around your neck that you must work hard to remove. We are told that if a family spends more than it earns, they go bankrupt. So when we see the national debt clock ticking up, trillions upon trillions of dollars, spinning so fast the human eye can't even track the hundreds, we feel a primal anxiety. We think, who is going to pay for all this? My children? My grandchildren? I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is your grandchildren aren't going to pay it back. The bad news is no one is. Because the dirty little secret of the global financial system is that the debt isn't meant to be paid off. It's designed to be there forever. And if we actually did try to pay it back, the entire global economy would collapse. Part 1. The illusion of borrowing. To understand why countries don't pay back debt, we have to unlearn the word borrow. When you borrow for a car, you sign a contract promising to return the money. You are the subordinate. The bank is the master. When a superpower like the United States or a major economy like Japan or the UK borrows, the dynamic is completely flipped. They aren't asking for a favor. They are selling a product. That product is a government bond. Think of a bond as a safe deposit box that pays you. The world is a scary, volatile place. Companies go bankrupt, real estate markets crash, crypto exchanges vanish overnight. If you are a pension fund managing billions of dollars or a foreign nation sitting on a pile of cash, you are terrified of losing it. You don't want risk, you want safety. So the US government steps up and says, "Give us your billions. We promise we will give it back to you in 10 years and will pay you a little interest every year for the privilege." This is crucial. The investors aren't lending money because they are charitable. They are buying safety. As long as the US government exists and collects taxes, that bond is the safest asset on planet Earth. This is why during times of crisis or panic, national debt often goes up, not just because the government spends more, but because investors are running for cover. They're throwing money at the government, begging them to keep it safe. So, step 1 in understanding this mess, national debt isn't a bill that is overdue, it is a savings account for the rest of the world. Part 2. The rollover. But wait, a bond has a maturity date. It says right there on the paper, payable in 10 years. Eventually, the bill comes due. So what happens when that 10-year deadline hits? Do the government cut a check? Do they raise taxes to clear the balance? No, they simply issue a new bond to pay off the old bond. This is called rolling over the debt. Imagine you have a mortgage due today, but instead of paying it, you take out a new mortgage to pay off the first one. Then 10 years later, you do it again, and again, for eternity. In personal finance, this is a Ponzi scheme. In global finance, this is standard operating procedure. As long as there are people willing to buy the new debt, the game never ends. The government never actually has to come up with the principal amount. They only need to worry about the interest payments, the servicing costs. It's like renting an apartment where you never have to move out and the landlord never asks for the keys back as long as you pay the monthly rent. This is why economists don't look at the total debt number, that scary 34 trillion or whatever it is today. That number is largely theater. They look at the debt service ratio. Can the government afford the monthly interest payments? If the answer is yes, the party continues. Part 3. The magical eraser, inflation. Now you might be thinking, okay, they roll it over, but the pile keeps getting bigger. Eventually, the interest payments will become so huge they consume the entire budget, right? That is a very logical fear, but governments have a weapon you and I do not have. They have a magical eraser called inflation. Let's go back to history. World War II. The United States racked up a staggering amount of debt to fight the Nazis. By 1946, the debt-to-GDP ratio was roughly 120%. It was a mountain of money. Did they pay it off? Did they run massive surpluses for decades to get that number down to zero? Absolutely not. The nominal amount of debt, the actual number of dollars owed, mostly stayed the same or went up. But over the next 30 years, that debt stopped mattering. Why? Because the economy grew and inflation happened. Here's the math of the con. If you owe $100,000 in 1950, that's a fortune, it's a mansion. If you still owe $100,000 in 2024, that's a nice car. By simply waiting and allowing inflation to occur, the real value of the debt shrinks. The government pays back bondholders with dollars that are worth less than the dollars they borrowed. It's a soft default. They're not telling you we won't pay. They're paying you exactly what they promised. It just doesn't buy very much anymore. This is why governments secretly love a little bit of inflation. It eats away their debts for free. It's a tax on lenders and a subsidy for borrowers. And the biggest borrower in the world is the state. Part 4. Growth versus yield, the golden equation. There's a formula that keeps finance ministers up at night. It looks like this. R less than G. R is the interest rate, what it costs to borrow. G is the growth rate of the economy, how much tax revenue increases. As long as G is higher than R, as long as the country grows faster than the interest accumulates, you can technically run a deficit forever. You can borrow infinitely, and the debt, relative to your income, will actually shrink. It's like getting a 5% raise at work every year, but your credit card interest is only 2%. You can keep buying stuff, and you'll still be richer next year than you are today.
But what happens if that equation flips? Part 5. When the music stops. We are now entering a dangerous new era. Remember R is less than G? Well, recently, interest rates skyrocketed. Suddenly, borrowing isn't free. The cost to service the debt is exploding. When a country can no longer roll over its debt because no one wants to buy the new bonds, you get a sovereign debt crisis. We've seen this movie before. Greece, Argentina, Venezuela. It starts slowly, then happens all at once. Investors look at the country's finances and say, you know what? I don't think you can handle this. They stop buying the bonds. To attract them, the government has to offer higher interest rates. Please buy our debt. We'll give you 10%, 20%. But this creates a death spiral. Higher rates mean higher interest payments, which means more borrowing, which scares investors even more. Eventually, the country has two choices, and both are catastrophic. Hard default. They walk out and say, we aren't paying. This locks them out of global markets, destroys their banking system, and plunges the population into poverty. Money printer go burr. The central bank steps in and buys the debt that no one else wants. They print fresh cash to pay the bills. This leads to hyperinflation. The currency becomes toilet paper. Major economies like the US, Japan, and the UK have avoided this because they control the world's reserve currencies. They have a privilege. The world needs their dollars and pounds. But that privilege is not a law of physics. It's a law of confidence. Part 6. The uncomfortable truth.
So why do countries never pay back their debt? Because the modern financial system is built on the assumption that they never will. The global economy runs on credit. Your pension, your bank account, the swiftness of international trade, it all rests on the bedrock of government bonds. If the US government actually decided to pay off its debt, if they ran a massive surplus and retired all the bonds, it would suck the liquidity out of the global markets. There would be no safe assets left to buy. The plumbing of the financial world would run dry. A depression would likely follow. We are trapped in a system where the debt must grow for the economy to function. It's a bicycle that must keep moving forward or it falls over. The question isn't when will we pay it off. The question is how long can we keep pedaling before the road runs out? As interest rates rise and deficits balloon, the road is getting steeper. The soft default of inflation is becoming harder to control, and the simple kitchen table logic we laughed at in the beginning, it's starting to look a lot more relevant. Because eventually, even for a superpower, math is math. The next time you see a headline about the national debt hitting a new record high, don't panic, but don't look away either. Understand that you are looking at the engine of the global economy running red hot. It's designed to run this way, but engines that run red hot eventually blow a gasket. The debt won't be paid back. The real mystery is who's going to be left holding the bag when the refinancing stops. Thanks for watching.